All right, let's jump right into this explainer and figure out how to build the ultimate science-backed disease-fighting diet. We're going to cover the whole shebang today, from the tiny, microscopic nutrients that actively protect your DNA, all the way up to a holistic, macroscopic master plan for your daily meals. Look, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by all the conflicting nutrition advice out there, and honestly, who hasn't? We're going to strip all of that away. We're looking strictly at the data, the actual clinical trials, and the proven dietary building blocks that can literally extend your life. So, let's get into it.
So let's kick things off with a pretty wild question that comes straight from a major PubMed study. Researchers basically wanted to know what specific food is the ultimate common denominator for a long life. They looked at the survival rates of older folks across a bunch of different ethnicities all over the globe. What was the one thing the absolute longest living people were all eating?
The answer? It's actually surprisingly simple: legumes. Yep, we're talking about humble, everyday dry beans and lentils. I love this because it beautifully proves that totally ordinary, inexpensive foods can have an absolutely extraordinary impact on human longevity. As you'll see throughout this explainer, you really don't need exotic, unpronounceable, or super expensive ingredients to achieve incredible health. Actually, the most powerful tools for your survival are probably sitting right there in your local grocery store. Which brings us right to Section 1, Fruits and Veggies, our cellular protectors. Let's start with a true microscopic marvel, the blueberry. Now, a whole cup of these contains only 84 calories, but it is absolutely packed with a family of polyphenol antioxidants called anthocyanins. Those are the compounds that give the berries that deep bluish-purple hue. And the science shows these specific antioxidants do some serious heavy lifting. They help neutralize the free radicals that cause DNA damage and aging. They improve blood vessel dilation, which helps lower your blood pressure. They maintain brain function as you age, and they even improve insulin sensitivity to help you manage your blood sugar. All that in a handful of berries? Moving right along to the vegetable aisle, the National Cancer Institute points us to a very specific family of plants: cruciferous vegetables. We're talking things like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and kale. Now, if you've ever wondered why these veggies have a slightly bitter flavor or a kind of pungent aroma, it's actually due to sulfur-containing chemicals called glucosinolates. It's a big word, I know. But don't let that bitterness deter you. Those exact chemicals are the secret to their disease-fighting power. The really crucial point here is how your body actually processes these vegetables. When you're preparing, chewing, and digesting them, you're physically breaking down those glucosinolates and unlocking active biological warriors inside your body. Specifically, they form compounds called indoles and isothiocyanates. Research shows that these compounds actively protect your cells from DNA damage, they can help inactivate carcinogens, and they even inhibit the formation of tumor blood vessels. So literally, just by chewing your broccoli, you're initiating this highly sophisticated chemical defense system. It's kind of like a superpower. To show you the real-world impact of this, just remember this number: greater than 5. Data from the Nurses' Health Study, which is a massive U.S. analysis, showed that women who ate more than 5 servings of cruciferous vegetables a week had a noticeably lower risk of lung cancer. Talk about a highly actionable takeaway for your weekly meal prep, right? All right, moving on. Let's get into Section 2, fermented foods and healing the gut. Get this. There was a fascinating 10-week clinical trial out of Stanford University that split 36 healthy adults into 2 different diet groups, one high fiber and one high fermented foods. The results were honestly pretty surprising. While researchers kind of expected the high fiber diet to be the universal winner, it was actually the high fermented diet, the one featuring foods like yogurt, kimchi, and kombucha, that rapidly boosted microbial diversity in the gut. Even more incredibly, the fermented diet slashed 19 different inflammatory proteins in the blood. That includes interleukin-6, which is a protein heavily linked to chronic stress, rheumatoid arthritis, and type 2 diabetes. The researchers themselves were genuinely blown away by this. Just look at this quote from Dr. Justin Sonnenberg. He calls it a stunning finding because it proves how rapidly and how reliably fermented foods can completely remodel the human immune system and decrease inflammation across a whole group of healthy adults. Basically, it shows us that we have the power to actively reshape our internal microbial landscape in just a matter of weeks. That's a real game changer. Speaking of lowering inflammation, let's shift gears to Section 3,
a healthy heart, dietary protectors. Let's quickly establish the stakes here. According to the CDC, roughly 600,000 Americans die of heart disease every single year. To put that into perspective, that is 1 out of every 4 deaths. It's a massive, massive issue. But the really good news, diet is a major, completely controllable factor. So to fight back against heart disease, dietitians from Food Line recommend anchoring your diet with a few specific anti-inflammatory champions. First, dark green leafy vegetables like kale and spinach. They give you essential folate and fiber. Next up, fatty fish like salmon and sardines, which provide those absolutely crucial EPA and DHA omega-3 fatty acids. Then you've got walnuts, offering a really simple plant-based source of vitamin E and monounsaturated fats. And finally, quinoa. Now, quinoa is technically a seed rather than a grain, but it is absolutely packed with phytonutrients and flavonoids that actively protect against cardiovascular inflammation. Beyond just focusing on those specific superfoods, the broader and deeply encouraging advice here is just to make smart, sustainable swaps in your day-to-day life. Choose lean cuts of poultry or beef to keep saturated fat and cholesterol in check. Try swapping out your regular vegetable oils for extra virgin olive oil. It contains natural compounds called phenols that provide amazing cardiovascular benefits. And above all, gently limit your intake of highly processed and fast foods. Finally, let's zoom all the way out for Section 4, Mediterranean Diet, the Master Plan. The Cleveland Clinic perfectly describes this master plan as the choir effect. You see, no single ingredient works alone. Think about it like a choir. One voice might carry a pretty tune, but you really need all the voices singing together to achieve the full, beautiful effect, right? Well, the Mediterranean diet succeeds because it provides this ideal blend of diverse, plant-based nutrients that harmonize together to reduce cardiovascular disease, slow brain decline, and ultimately help you live longer. So let's see how this actually builds into an actionable grocery list and a daily routine. Looking at the Cleveland Clinic's serving goals, the foundation is really solid. You want at least 3 servings of veggies every single day and 1 to 4 daily tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. But notice the frequency for the heavier proteins and fats. You only need about 3 servings of fish per week and a few quarter-cup servings of nuts per week to reap all those massive anti-inflammatory and brain-protecting benefits. It's totally doable. But, and this is a big but, to make this master plan truly work, you have to play by the rules of elimination. You must actively limit the dietary villains. That means cutting out saturated and trans fats, which cause arterial plaque, slashing sodium, which spikes your blood pressure, and eliminating refined carbohydrates and sugars that cause those rapid blood sugar spikes. By removing these inflammatory triggers, you're essentially clearing the stage so that your high-fiber and antioxidant-rich foods can actually do their job properly. Well, there you have it. We've explored the microscopic science of anthocyanins, the incredible gut remodeling power of fermented foods, and the macroscopic harmony of the Mediterranean Master Plan. You now possess the scientific blueprint to actively fight disease and promote longevity. So I'm going to leave you with this final, vital question as we wrap up this explainer. What will you put on your plate today?